What's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be installing my Neptune Apex system on my Reef tank for monitoring purpose, just because I have not been monitoring my water levels, and I would just like to see what some of the parameters are like throughout the week, throughout the months. Ideally, this setup was supposed to be for the new tank that's supposed to be in here, but because we're delaying getting that tank probably another year or so, just because some priorities change. I want to use this system. It's just been sitting here for almost a year. A lot of them are still new. Some of them I already opened to unbox, kind of like last year, just to kind of show you guys. I did buy this cabinet system here, so we'll go ahead and try to install some of this in here. This is my first time using the Apex system, so it's going to be a learning curve for me, and with the app and whatnot. So let's go ahead and open stuff up and put things together and see if it works. Alright, so I got the main one here. This will measure everything that we need for the system. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, because this one I did unbox already. Let's go ahead and get this back out. Look at that. Got a bunch of stuff here too. Hardwire. This is wireless, so you will need to program this, or maybe plug it into the wire, because I do have a wire that sits here in the office. We can just kind of, make sure that everything works before we plug it into wireless. And then here are the sensors. I'm going to be very careful with these sensors. I think we have to calibrate the sensors, but let's go and take everything apart, and we need to figure out where the instruction is. That's number one. Here's all the plugs for that. Here it is. Calibration solution, along with some screws. So we'll probably need some cups. I'll find a cup and go get some cups. Alright, so it looks like the manual is online, so I'm going to go ahead and type this in and check out what we need to do to install it. But before we do all that, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to mount some of these, because the bar comes with this pretty cool template thing here that you can screw onto wherever you want to screw it onto, and then it clips right onto here pretty easily. So I'm going to figure out where I want to put everything for the wiring. I have dosers over here as well, along with a trident to monitor stuff. So yeah, let's figure out where to set everything up and go from there. I've not seen this since science class back in like middle school, high school. Okay. Wow, this thing's a massive thing's a beast. This guy up. Okay. I see it here. These two here. But it looks like you have to pry it open. We got the dosers, but no screw. Jesus, look at this. Thing's going to be... Okay, so we have to install this too. I don't know, like this thing is... It sticks out like... like 7-8 inches. I thought it was going to be more flush, but okay. I gotta figure out the screws though. The screw situation. We're going to be low on screws. I have to find some screws that look very similar to this. Alright, so I got the tabs out. I ended up using just pliers and just like a flathead, just to kind of push out one of the corners and grab it and got it out. So fairly easy, but yeah, I was kind of hoping that they would just already have that pre-tabbed for you, but okay, whatever. We got that, and what I'm thinking about is I'm going to be mounting it somewhere like here, and then next to this is going to be the little display thingy here. And the bottom is going to be the Apex somewhere down here, probably maybe one of the corners here. And then I have a second doser that I'm not going to be using. It's going to be probably like fertilizing the macroalgae, and that's going to be inside is what I'm thinking, because I can put one here and maybe put one down here, but that one's kind of too low. But there's like a slot inside. I'll flip it around here. It looks like this here. That could just probably sit it like this, right? And it just could be hidden. And I can just put the screws in from the back side there like this, and then you'll have 2 dosers back to back. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. Right now, in terms of layout, I think the easiest to have this energy bar sit right here, and then the Trident sit right below here, and then I have the doser containers, and it'll sit like right here. And then if I have a second energy bar that I need, which I do have, just in case if I do need, it'll sit right across from here. And I think that should take care of everything in terms of mounting. Okay, so I went to Home Depot to pick up some screws because I didn't have the correct flathead size. So I did have a bunch of 3/4 inch screws, but the flathead here, this big part here, wasn't the right size. So I went and picked some up. So as you can see here, it does fit it snugly. So let's go ahead and start drilling some stuff. I did have to make a template for the doser because I didn't have a template. All I did was I just grabbed a piece of paper here. At the very top, I just marked out where the holes were at for the center. And I'm going to use that to kind of just line it up to, you know, somewhere over here to drill the holes. Okay, all right. Let's test this. Look at that. First thing locked right in place. So this is the back. It's kind of hovering above it a little bit. It clears everything pretty much. Yeah, for the most part. I can kind of see it over here, which is fine. It barely clears it. So it looks good. I like it so far. Cool, so we got the first part in. I'm gonna remove this. And we're going to do the front now. All right, and here's the front. It's mounted in. Looks good. The wires will come down here. The other wires will come down to here. Looks good. I'm gonna put the display somewhere here. You know, in this general area. And then I'll put the final Apex system unit down here somewhere. Or in the middle. Maybe in the middle, because I don't really plan to have anything else on here, or maybe there's another monitor, I don't know. We'll just maybe put it in the middle. Yeah, we'll just put it in the middle for now. We can always probably end up moving it, or I should put it off to the right here because the energy bar is going to be on the right hand side, so I might put it here, so that way everything connects evenly. Or I can put it on here because it's close to the tank side in terms of all the wiring, tubing, maybe on the left side, because like I said, it's closer to the other stuff. Or maybe you kind of put it up top. I don't know. Top seems like it's a little way too high because it doesn't really clear any of these. Maybe you can put it in the middle up here. Does that look weird? I don't know. Because it really doesn't. It won't, you know, be flush against here, which is fine. I don't really mind. Got it in place. Look at that. Alright, so I installed the energy bar on both ends. I'm not going to use this one yet, but I put the mount on there just in case whenever I do, so I don't have to take everything apart. Everything fits perfectly, as you can see. Everything looks good, but I'm going to keep this one here just because it's easier to the access on that side. But yeah, everything looks like we're good to go here. So let's put everything back together and really start this thing up. Let's see what we got here. Here's a quick shot of everything before I move everything into place and try to set things up. 2 energy bars left and right. It looks like I can only fit one doser on there right now anyway, so there's that one doser. There's the Trident right there. And then the front plate's going to look like this here. So something like this looks pretty decent, not too bad. Still have enough room to fit probably something else on the bottom if we needed to upgrade or whatever in the future here. So it's looking good so far. Alright guys, so we got the Apex just USB plugged into the power bar here first to kind of give it Wi-Fi. So I'm gonna go set up Wi-Fi real quick. Alright, once I got things going, I'm starting to calibrate some of the things here. So I'm waiting for this to air calibrate and then put in the solution. Alright, so we got everything set up. It's the next day. This is not completely plugged in because I'm not planning to dose anything yet. I'm going to just have the system run for a while and just kind of monitor. So a couple things. The Wi-Fi for this was giving me trouble during setup. It would not want to connect at all. The way I got around it was I plugged in the wire to this, set up everything. So the Apex Fusion linked with the Apex here, made it count everything, linked it all up, and then swapped it on the Apex Fusion to say use Wi-Fi, and then that seemed to have worked. But yeah, the Wi-Fi, if you're just starting it from scratch, I tried everything and it just wouldn't work for me. I followed some tutorials online and some things that they recommended, and it just wouldn't take. The other thing was when I was calibrating some of the probes, just FYI, there's two probes, the pH one and I think it was the ORP probe had this cover on it. It's the cover so that the sensor doesn't go dry, and I thought this was supposed to be with part of the sensor in terms of measurement, so when I went to calibrate it, it wouldn't take. So just make sure to take these covers off when you're calibrating it. The calibration was pretty fast, pretty easy. Alright, so I did run into a little bit of an issue with the Salinity probe. I think I figured it out. It has to do with temperature. So in my house, it's pretty warm. The Reef tank is sitting at like 80, 82 degrees, okay? I've noticed that a lot of these zoas are kind of not doing really well during the summer months. During the cooler months, they do, you know, pretty decently. I don't have a chiller, I don't have anything like that that would aerate or cool down the Reef tank. I just let it kind of go. And you know, the anemone looks like they're doing fine, the mushrooms are doing fine. They're a little bit more hardy, but some of the zoas are actually dying back. Anyways, when I plugged in the probe and then, you know, I started measuring, I noticed that it spiked, you know, really high, and I was like, oh, maybe my salinity is too high. It's because, you know, the temperature wasn't really sitting in right. But once it settled, it was reading, you know, really, really low salinity. It was like 28, 29 ppts, and I was like, what's going on? Is it, you know, is it my measurement that's off? Is it, you know, something going on? Well, anyways, I took a sample of the water and I put it in here at the normal temperature, and it read super, super low. It was like 1.022 or something like that. And I was like, oh crap, you know, there's something going on. What I did was I took the same water here and I put in some ice here to kind of bring down the temperature. And I was just playing with, you know, the temperature here. So now it's reading at what normal reef levels should be during like winter months, cooler months, 77, 76, right, degrees. And I read this, and it's reading at a normal level. So I guess I wasn't really doing this or wasn't really paying attention to this, but it looks like I do need to add a little bit more salt during my water changes to bring the salinity up. And as the, you know, temperatures are cooler, I can back that off. So it's something that I haven't really, you know, been keeping in mind, but now with this measuring and this kind of like telling me, hey, the temperature is consistently at 80 or whatever it is, I need to put a little bit more salt into the mix. So yeah, that's just another thing that, you know, I didn't consider, you know, doing Reef. Was just like, hey, you know, temperature will fluctuate your reading, even if it's pretty accurate. Like, I thought this was off, so I like recalibrated, you know, this thing, and it was still reading low, and I was just like, what is going on? But yeah, this is kind of interesting stuff, right? With like a 4 to 5 degrees difference here, that's like a matter of like, you know, your zoa's living and your zoa's not living. So lessons learned this week. As temperature increases, your salinity drops, and that's something you have to take into account when mixing salt, especially during summer months. Yeah. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, make sure you guys subscribe, and like always, till next time, guys, peace.